Good morning. Welcome to Tuesday's Early Morning Intuitive Guidance. I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, here with some words of wisdom to start your day off well. Uh-oh. Forgot the lipstick. You can't be a Mary Kay gal without the lipstick. There we go. That's better. So, was an interesting day yesterday. So our card today, good morning, Carolyn. You're the first one popping on today. Welcome, welcome. Our card today kind of fits for what many of us are experiencing. We didn't have it as bad. Good morning, Abigail. Glad you are here. But the poor Youpers. Good morning, Joe Neal. Welcome, welcome, welcome. They got buried under 10 plus inches of snow. Power out for over 10,000 people yesterday. So I'm hoping that at least one of my peeps can make it on our Zoom call this morning. Good morning, Ruth Ann. Hello, welcome, welcome. Because, they were without power. Not fun. And now it's starting to get really cold. So hopefully they got that fixed. The grid up there is pretty, 27 degrees. That's not warm. For you, that's absolutely not warm. For us, then, yeah. Good morning, Barb. Glad you're here. So, yes, I think right now we're in the teens. And over the next couple of days, there's going to be some times where we dip down into the single digits. So still, for Wisconsin, Michigan, Minnesota, kind of par for the course. But, yeah, so send some good energy, some warm energy to all my Youper friends who may or may not have power at this point in time. So our card, isn't that beautiful? I used to love walking through the woods behind the motel. In fact, the motel was closed yesterday, no power. I don't know if that's ever happened. So, yeah. But loved walking through the woods between the motel and the school, and there were beautiful woods like this. And it's interesting how disorienting it is. When you walk something in the summertime, you pick out certain markers. Good morning, Nancy. Glad you're here. And many of those get obscured in the winter. And so it can be very disorienting walking around in the woods in the winter. So, yeah. All right. So let us start with some breath and some tapping. Pick your spot. Any spot. I had the most bizarre dreams last night, so I feel like things are afoot. Things are afoot. I'm not sure how the planets are aligned right at the moment, but it certainly feels like a pregnant time. So breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Yours came on at 6 last night. Yes, glad to hear it. I hope that has occurred for many other folks as well. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Now, most of the Youpers are very resourceful folks. They're well aware that the grid is not all that stable, and they usually either have generators or they have backup heating opportunities like wood, etc. So, but yeah, still scary. Notes from the universe on abundance. Mike Dooley, he's been making an appearance quite frequently lately in our cards. And this one is quite the awesome card. And I would like to read it real slowly. And I'd like you to really, really absorb it. I'll probably read it multiple times too, just to make sure we're getting the point here. Okay. In through the nose. Out through the mouth. Opening to receive. Psst. It's me again. The universe. You deserve more. You know, much more. Try this. Stop trying to predict and therefore limit where it's going to come from. Just know it's going to come and let me figure out the rest. Coolio, the universe. What's your first reaction to hearing that? For me, there's a little bit of a clutching, a little bit of a, yeah, but. You mean I don't get to ride roughshod over my life? I don't get to, hammer all the details out myself? No, I don't. And I have found in the course of 6+ decades that when I allow, much greater things unfold. And I know I've asked this question before, if I had asked you at the age of 10 what your life would turn out like, would you ever in a bazillion jillion years have said any of how it has turned out? For most of us, the answer is no. We couldn't even conceive of the things that have unfolded, right? So why would we continue to engage in behavior, trying to predict, barging ahead, forcing the square peg in the round hole? Why would we continue with those kinds of endeavors when we've already been shown it doesn't work? It doesn't work at all. What does work is to breathe and allow and open to receiving and step through open doors and use our discernment when things present themselves to us. I was working with someone last night and we were practicing her listening to her body being like the pendulum that responds to, is this in my highest and best good? And she got some very clear answers. And they weren't, good morning, Diane, glad you're here. They weren't necessarily the answers she wanted to hear, but they were her answers. So, let's run it again, shall we? Here's our beautiful card for today. Psst, it's me again, the universe. You deserve more. Much more. Try this. Stop trying to predict and therefore limit where it's going to come from. Just know it's going to come and let me figure out the rest. Coolio, the universe. So being in flow, being in that flow, being willing to trust, especially when it looks like there are no options. There are absolutely no options here. Nothing's going to work. I'm doomed. Especially in those circumstances. Pay attention to what else opens up. Pay attention to those still little whispers within. Go this way, not that way. Do this, not that. Wait, pause, hold please. When the universe asks us to hold please, it would be wise to hold please. And again, as I was talking to my client last night, she's a doer. I get that. I totally get that. But there are times when the doing doesn't serve us and, in fact, interferes with the flow. We end up being like the little beavers who build the dam and the water can't flow and we end up with a little bit of a flood. So, what do you need to take a step back from? What do you need to give some perk time? What do you need to allow to unfold rather than trying to make something happen in your timing, not divine timing? And sometimes from our timing, we can't see that there can be a divine timing. It just seems so logical to us that for it to unfold right now would be perfect. Not so much. Allowing the unfolding. Just the way the seasons follow after each other. Are they always exactly spot on in their timing? No. Sometimes spring arrives later than we wish, but it is in divine timing. So, what helps you allow? What are the things that help you allow? I think reading a card like this is helpful in terms of allowing. It's that reminder, oh yeah, I don't have to make stuff happen. I just need to pay attention to the cues and sing my part when it's my turn in the opera, right? Step through the door when it opens. That's my part. Not kicking the door off the hinges. That's not my part. There you go. As I get older, it's easier to be less of a doer. I would say yes, yes, yes. There was a statement I read in the Being Mortal book, because I was just working on the questions for our third round of book club on that. And the comment was very similar to that when we're young, what we're focused on is achieving and accomplishing. Good morning, Mary. Glad you are here. Welcome. Achieving, accomplishing, making things happen, etc., etc. As we get older, we step out of that doing stuff more and more and into observing and being present and allowing. So this is a natural progression that we're going through right here. Sometimes it's kind of creaky and not as smooth as we'd like it to be, but it is a progression nonetheless. Yeah, trust the divine. Thank you for the coffee, Mary. So today, let us all take time to observe, to be present with what is, to allow, and if something in our world isn't as we would like it to be, maybe asking ourselves, what am I meant to learn from this before it shifts? Like this cold. I don't know. This is hanging on, man. And so yesterday, I spent the bulk of the day doing things that felt like opening doors to me. So I sent out some emails. I watched 2 videos in a series of, I think there's 7 or 8 of them. I'll watch another one today. That is moving us into more awareness of the gifts that we have within and better ability to tap those gifts when they would serve us best. So what about for you? What about for you? How is the beingness showing up in your day? I love it with my morning cacao routine. That feels like a being kind of thing. What about for you? There goes the bus. So that's our card for today. Let me read it one more time. Really grab that middle part. Take it to heart. Psst, it's me again, the universe. You deserve more. You know, much more. Try this. Stop trying to predict and therefore limit where it's going to come from. Just know it's going to come and let me, the universe, figure out the rest. Coolio? So, have an awesome Tuesday. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including being chill. Bye-bye.